Hey everybody, and welcome back to the internet once again. I kind of wanted to address a few comments I've been getting lately. First of all, I'm kind of sorry about the April Fool's video I did yesterday. I put in a few sort of edits to it, like dropping the voice and everything, but for some reason the edits kind of caused some glitches, which made it even more weird and choppy, so the whole video was just kind of a mess overall. But everything should be back to normal today. And secondly, in regards with the bouncing logo in the background, I know a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it. Hopefully I can get it so that it's a little less noticeable but still fun, so hopefully we can find sort of a middle ground compromise. This whole channel is kind of an ongoing experimentation. And from that, let's jump into some entitled parent stories. So this first one is called Entitled Parent Assaults Me After I Refuse to Let Her Entitled Kid Have My Laptop. Okay, so this happened about a year ago when me and my mom were having a yard sale. I was going to be heading off to college and my mom wanted to make some space in the house. The yard sale was going well until about an hour from when it was supposed to end. Enter entitled parent and entitled kid. The parent points to my laptop and says, "I'll take that one." I say, "Okay, it's $100. I don't have that much on me." "Well, I mean, I could do $90. I'll give you $10. "What? No, $90 is a really fair price." At this point, I was getting a bit annoyed with her, and that's when she calls her devil of a child over. The conversation went as follows. She says, "Hey kid, do you want this?" Again points to the laptop. The kid says, yes, give it to me." I say, "Ma'am, I already told you the price is $90 and I'm firm on that price." She's like, "Okay, well kid, let's go." I wish I could say that was the end of it, but no. Oh no. I saw the parent overlooking at another table, but the entitled kid was nowhere to be found. Until I look over to my laptop and see him reaching for it, so I run over there. I say, "Hey kid, what are you doing?" He says, "I want this." Okay, but it's not yours, give it back." At this point he tries to make a run for it, but I'm close enough to just grab it from him, and I do. Bad move. Parent says, "Did you just hit my son?" No, he tried to steal my laptop, so I stopped him. "You have no right to touch him. Give me that laptop now." "No, it's mine. You want to buy it for the $90? I'd be happy to sell it to you." This is when she went absolutely ballistic, and when my mom heard all the commotion, she came outside. She says, "What's going on here?" The parent says, "Your son stole my son's laptop." She says, "I'm sorry, but I know for a fact that that's my son's laptop because I bought it for him." Then the entitled parent pushes me and tries to take my laptop, and the laptop falls on the ground and breaks. While this was going on, my mom dialed 911 and the cops arrived. The police say, "What seems to be the problem?" My mom says, "This lady tries to... They broke my son's laptop." The police turns to my mom. "Is this true?" She says, "No, this is my son's laptop." I say, "Yes, I can prove it," as I had the original box in my closet. The police say, "Ma'am, this is clearly their computer." She says, "I don't care, my son wanted it." "Yeah, you're gonna have to pay for a new one." She tried to run, but the officer caught her and took her and her entitled kid to the station. A couple days later, we got the money for a new laptop, and thankfully haven't seen them since. All of the best entitled parent stories end with the police. I mean, hey, at least you got your money out of the item in the end, so. This next one is called My Nan, who is mistaken for my mom, is accused of tattooing me as a baby because of my birthmark. So my mom and my Nan told me this a while ago, and I just remembered it after posting another tale about my youth involving said birthmark. It's shaped like a love heart, and it was so clear that it looked like a stamp until I was 11, where it has faded. And here's the picture of it. So I was barely 5 months old, and I was sitting on my mother's lap while waiting for my turn in the hospital. I have a thyroid condition requiring a blood test per year. My Nan said that I was getting irritated being stuck on my 17-year-old mother's lap. Yeah, my mom was young. She's done a pretty good job raising me. My mom sat me down with some other babies. I was playing with some wooden blocks, and I was sitting on my own. I have autism, hence the avoidance of other human beings. Mom says that there was a girl that was a bit too old to be with the babies and was drinking milk. She dropped the milk right on me, ruining the bumblebee shirt I was wearing. My mom took me and had to take off my shirt because it was soaked. It exposed a birthmark which was darker than it is now. And I've always had pale skin, so it sticks out like a tail wound. I'm being fussy as my mom cleans me, and there's this woman glaring daggers at my mom and my Nan. Her husband is busy with their son who is crying because I'm crying. I'll call the lady Ella. So Ella says, "Excuse me." Nan says she sounded like a dolphin. My Nan says, "I'm sorry, she will calm down soon." My mom is very anxious and she's still very new mom and hasn't met my second mom yet. They aren't in a relationship anymore. They've been almost sisters since I was 4, but she's still a mom to me. Ella says, why have you tattooed her back? That's disgusting. No wonder she's crying so much. And Nan says, tattoo? She looks back and sees the love heart. Now that's a birthmark. It looks weird, I know, but it's not a tattoo. She says, of course it's a tattoo. No baby has a birthmark like that. Other parents are looking at her, including her husband. You're a horrible mother to do that to your baby. No, she's my granddaughter. My mom is close to crying from the embarrassment. I've stopped crying and am looking at the woman as she makes a gasp that sounds like she's choking to death. Nan's words, not mine. If you say a word about my daughter, I will take a chair leg and shove it so far up your rear that you'll be mistaken for a unicorn. The woman acted like she had just been slapped. When a nurse came in, she was pulled by Ella and Nan overheard her saying that my Nan was abusing me and my mom. The nurse looked at us and saw that we had clearly been crying while my Nan was visibly furious. Thankfully, her husband had some semblance of sanity in him. The husband says, my wife thinks that the young lady had tattooed her granddaughter's back. Ella says, there's no way that is a birthmark. The nurse says, can you prove that it isn't a tattoo? She looks at my back strangely. My mom says, I wouldn't tattoo my baby. My mom finally speaks up. I chose to keep her. I wouldn't do anything that would take her away. My Nan says, I'd like to speak to someone over these false accusations. Interestingly, my Nan is called Karen. Even non-entitled ones say that line. The nurse looked conflicted. She was facing an increasingly upset grandmother and a snobbish mother who was possibly genuinely concerned for my well-being. She called my doctor to stop what he was doing to come in the waiting room. That sounds like something she wouldn't have done, but my Nan guesses that the nurse wanted witnesses or something like that. The nurse says, Doctor, there is an infant here with a strange mark on her. One of the parents believes it is a tattoo. Is it? The doctor says, Hey, OP. He smiled as he handed his pen to me, which I started waving around as if it was a flag. I like pens. Mom says that he checked out my bag and rolls his eyes. This is her birthmark. There are so many possible shapes that there can be that it is possible for a birthmark to look like a heart. I'm sorry you two had to go through this. Ella says, that can't possibly be true. Doctor says, your heart is in the right place, but you went about it the wrong way. She doesn't have a tattoo, and these two aren't abusing her. She's just here for a blood test. Mom is doing a fine job for her age. He is our favorite doctor. Did the woman get kicked out or shunned? No, she just looked embarrassed and said nothing more. Nan and Mom made me have my blood test and bought me a teddy bear for being a brave girl. It wasn't anything overly insane, just something amusing thanks to my birthmark. I guess entitled moms can be entitled even to kids that aren't their own. This next story is called, Give My 9-year-old son alcohol, it's New Year's Eve. So my mom married my stepdad when I was a toddler. They divorced when I was in my late teens. They had my little brother when I was in my teens, so I'm a lot older than he is. After I moved out, I tried to maintain a healthy relationship with my little brother, and had him over to spend the night often. I invited him to spend the night on New Year's Eve. He was 9. I was about 27 months pregnant. Not really, but did give birth shortly after the new year. Obviously, it would be a low-key evening at home. Late in the evening, little brother started demanding alcohol. Yeah, no, not happening. Once he realized we weren't going to give him any, he called his daddy. The stepdad says, why are you excluding my son? I say, we aren't. No one is drinking. I'm freaking giant pregnant. Besides, he's 9 years old. I'm not providing him with that. I decide what my son gets. It's New Year's Eve and you will give him something to toast with. I say, okay, yeah, no. You can come get him if you want, but I'm not catering that demand. It's ridiculous. 30 minutes later, he's banging on my door. Here, I brought my son some beer and champagne. What part of this did you not understand? He will not be drinking in my home at age 9, New Year's Eve or not. He says, but he wants it, and I brought it. Problem solved. I say, nope. You either leave with the beer or you take him with you. How dare you tell me how to parent my son? I say, obviously someone needs to. Think it's time for you to go. There are so many stories like this, it's insane. But my brother is pushing 30, never really had a job, is a heroin addict, and, you guessed it, daddy pays for it. Yet somehow it's everyone else's fault he's not successful. I did end up reporting him to social services a couple years later. Wish I could have done it sooner. Yeah, why would you need to give your 9-year-old alcohol? Just like, I don't know, give him juice or something, let him pretend or something. He doesn't know what he's missing out on. And now to the final story called Entitled Mom Demands Mobility Scooter from Handicapped Grandpa. So, some backstory. My grandpa has a handicap parking permit that you hang in cars that allow him to park in handicap spots. He has really bad lung issues, hence why he can't walk for longer than a minute or so before he has to rest for a while. With that said, let me get into the story. So I was younger and excited to be in Disney World, as a kid would be. My family all split up, my mother with my sister, my father with my brother, and me with my grandpa, so we could all hit the attractions that we wanted in the one day we spend in Orlando. As you know, in Disney there are some shows that require you to be there for a certain time. I remember that we went to see Indiana Jones and we were on our way to see the Cars show. My grandpa was on a mobility scooter, obviously, and always brings his handicap parking permit anywhere with him when he's not in the car. We took a hotel shuttle to the certain park, so his permit wasn't needed somewhere else. We were about halfway in between Indiana Jones and the car show, and we needed to be there in 7 to 8 minutes if we were to get in the show when Entitled Kid and Entitled Mom struck. The kid says, "That's a cool bike." My grandpa chuckles. "This is not a bike, it's a mobility scooter." The kid looks confused. Grandpa says, "I can't walk very well, so I have to use this." The kid walks back to his mother without replying. The entitled mother comes up and says, "Hi, can you please let my son have that special bike for the rest of the day? He is very tired and bored." This part makes me rage. The entitled mother had a freaking stroller, and you're at Disney World. Why the F is the entitled kid bored? My grandpa says, "I'm very sorry, this is a mobility scooter we hired for the day and it is not cheap. And on top of that, I can't walk very long and I need this." She says, "Well, where are you going?" I say, "To the car show." The mom says, "That's not far at all. Get off and let my son use it." The kid starts crying to the mom while the mom just ignores him. My grandpa says, "I'm very sorry, miss, but we bought this. And on top of that, I physically need it to get through the day." He pulls out his parking permit. Mom says, "Let me see that." My grandpa gives her the permit. She examines it and then throws it on the ground. She says, "It's fake." I go and pick up the permit as those things are not garbage. "Give us the scooter." She mocks my grandpa. At this point, my grandpa had enough and we started to go. Anyone who has seen mobility scooters at Disney World knows how slow they are. We were on the fasted, setting down doing at most 2 miles per hour. The entitled mom kicks the scooter. Luckily, she was a small lady and it did not have any effect on my quite large grandpa, whose weight was enough to keep it upright. The mom flipped us off and said these words, "Greedy people like you deserve nothing." The entitled kid was still crying the entire time, getting louder and louder, but entitled mom did not care until now. So the moral of the day, because someone is using a mobility scooter or a wheelchair or any other assistance device, is do not ask them for it, and please respect them, and please do not question their credibility. Luckily, my grandpa was not offended, but I am 100% sure other people would be in this situation. Luckily, we made it to the show, and were one of the last to be seated, and I have to be honest, it was a pretty good show, and I enjoyed it at the time. Man, they don't get much more entitled than that. I mean, this may not apply 100% of the time. Like, anytime I hear one person calling another person greedy, I almost always assume that the person saying it is more greedy. Because it just happens to be the case so often that you're trying to take something from somebody else, and then you say that they're greedy for not giving it to you. Anyways, that's what you get for entitled parents. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. This should be pretty standard from now on. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to hear more. Thanks for watching.